Hello viewers, you know that microprocessor based system, though inherently very reliable, do sometimes fail. In this session, I will talk about some basic methodologies and tools for diagnosis of faults and their rectification. But before we do so, let's have a look at its construction. This is the block diagram of a typical microprocessor-based system. The system consists of a common power supply feeding all the units, the CPU and the buses, a keyboard or keypad for user input, and a display for output. The system also sometimes has a disk drive and a printer. In a very simple system, the disk drive and the printer may not exist. Very small systems like single pan balances, washing machine controllers, smart test instruments, temperature controller, etc. may be made out of a single PCB containing all the essential elements. However, medium and large-sized microprocessor-based equipment are made up of several PCBs or modules, each of which perform a specific function. Interconnection of these modules are made up of various types of connectors and cables. Failures may occur due to faults in any one of these elements. In troubleshooting, while intuition plays a significant role, a service engineer follows a logical, systematic, and step-by-step method to locate a fault. The methods are observation and analysis of symptoms, careful visual and tactile inspection, fault isolation by systematic substitution, use of suitable tools and test equipment. After locating the fault, it is rectified by either of the two methods: board or module level troubleshooting, component level troubleshooting. In board level method, a faulty board is replaced by a good one. It is the most commonly used method of repair in the field, since it requires very little time. Component level troubleshooting requires time, special skill, tools and test fixtures, and service information in the form of circuit diagrams, fault-finding flowcharts, etc. This method, though ideally suitable for factory or large service centers, is seldom used in the field. Depending on the frequency of occurrence, the two major types of faults are permanent or solid fault and intermittent fault. In the case of permanent faults, the system behaves in the same way whenever it is turned on. In such cases, it is easy to identify and rectify the fault. In the case of intermittent faults, the system behaves in an erratic fashion, and it's comparatively difficult to locate and rectify the fault. Faults are also classified according to their causes as software faults and hardware faults. Software faults normally occur due to incomplete testing of the system at the developmental stage. Though test is performed under all possible input conditions, yet some rare combination of input data may show up which could not be preconceived. Such faults evade detection and are extremely difficult to fix. Hardware faults are caused by problems such as electrical and electronic, mechanical, and environmental. Electrical and electronic faults may be due to power supply faults. For example, a less voltage of 3.5 volts instead of 5 volts can cause malfunction in the system. Low-level bus signals, example, a lowering of logic level to 1.5 volts may cause erratic system operation. Solder bridge or open through hole connection on PCB are frequently observed causes of failure of a system. A burnt resistor or any other defective passive component on a PCB is yet another cause of failure. A defective LSI chip on a PCB is of course a very common cause of system malfunction. Mechanical problems may be caused by cable break, faulty contact in connector or socket, faulty switches, and faulty setting of selection of jumpers or dip switches. A more serious problem is due to environmental conditions like high temperature, dust, humidity, and supply voltage fluctuation and electrical and magnetic interferences. High temperature may be caused by a blocked air unit in the equipment. Dust deposition on PCB fingers may make the contacts unreliable. Excessive humidity due to cooling equipment may again create contact problem and surface leakage problem. A large class of microprocessor-based systems are provided with built-in diagnostic programs to facilitate fault finding. One such program is POST, that is, Power On Self-Test. POST is actually a collection of test programs that are automatically executed whenever the system is powered on or a hardware reset performed. Post messages are different depending on its progress, namely hang or halt, indicated by an instruction address floating on the bus. Checkpoint indication observed by outputting a known number at some specific port. Audible alarm via a speaker or a buzzer, often at various frequencies, and error messages on an LCD display or CRT monitor. Besides POST, there are other self-diagnostic programs such as Resident Program built up into the system, loadable test ROM or test diskette available from the manufacturer. These programs help in diagnosing and rectifying faults very quickly. In many cases, however, a service engineer has to depend on tools and test equipment for locating faults. The most commonly used tools are logic probe, logic pulsar, and oscilloscope. A logic probe is a handheld test equipment with which a large number of faults can be detected. It is used to find out the logic state of any node, a 0, a 1, or a pulse. The logic pulsar is used to produce and inject pulses of known frequencies at a node in a circuit. A general purpose dual trace 20 MHz oscilloscope may be used for testing of logic levels, measurement of frequency, pulse width, rise and fall times, and indication of timing relationship between signals. Besides these hand tools, a very sophisticated instrument called a logic analyzer is used for locating complex problems. The analyzer consists of a FIFO RAM for storing samples of the signals present in its data inputs. A clock source to synchronize samples of data input signals with the occurrence of a pulse. An internal crystal controlled clock source for precise timing measurements. A display scan circuit and a CRT display to display the group of samples on the screen. For large-scale testing, an automated test equipment is used since other methods are time-consuming. However, such equipments are very expensive. Well, friends, in this session, I have given you a very brief exposure to the basic methodology and tools used in fault diagnosis of a microprocessor-based system and their rectification. You must have realized that while programs, tools, and test equipments play a significant role in fault diagnosis and rectification, the single most important factor is human knowledge. That is, knowledge of the person sitting behind the machine. In the sessions to come, you will learn about microprocessors with more advanced features.